Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie Lorraine if this is your first time here. But if this is your first time here, please be sure to subscribe before you leave. I upload videos every Sunday. For those of you who are not new and you are a part of the gang and you are a subscriber, welcome back and hey girl. In today's video, I show you all how to complete this flawless, really pretty, really simple, really affordable, and beginner friendly makeup look. All the products that I use are drugstore. This video was requested from one of my girls, hey girl, and I followed through, and I am here to show you all what it is I do, how I do it, as well as all of the products that I use to create a really simple, flawless, everyday beat just like the one you see before you. So if you want to see what I did, how I did it, and what I used, then please most definitely keep on watching. If you are new here, then I would suggest you stop watching this video and click on my video on how I do my eyebrows, just so that you can be a little bit up to date and follow everything else that I'm about to talk about. And this is like my third time recording this video. I'm so like tired of doing this because this is my third time recording this. If you hear noise in the background, please forgive me. When I did record this video yesterday, I tried to do it late night so that nobody would be up, and I thought to just make that a voiceover. The first time I recorded it, I had trouble with the files. I couldn't import them into iMovie to edit. So the next thing that I normally typically do when I do my eyebrows first is prime my eyelids. I'm going to take my Juvia's Place concealer in the shade 13 to conceal my eyelids. And priming your eyelids and setting them just basically gives you the ability to have a clear and even surface. So you see how underneath my eyebrow I have my concealer, but my eyelids are a little darker than like the rest of my face. Concealing them and setting them gives it a nice even balance and a nice even look overall. So to set my eyelid in place, I'm going to use my loose setting powder by Black Radiance. It is in the shade Banana. You can get this from Target or Walmart or Walgreens, anything like that. If you want to see like a higher end version of this video with like makeup from like Sephora or like higher end in general, then like this video, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll record a high end version of this look. I'm going to smooth out any creases. Normally when you are setting your eyelids like this, or using concealer anywhere in your makeup, you want to hurry up and set, because, and when I mean set, I mean set it with powder, like pack your powder on top of it, because concealer moves, it creases, and when it sets into your skin, it starts to crease, and the powder will stop that from happening. So you want to hurry up and just like smooth everything out and then set it with a powder. I'm going to take this really old brush that's from BH Cosmetics. I'm going to dip it into my powder and set it in place. Concealer moves and it creases and that whole thing. So anywhere you put concealer, you want to set so it can stay in place. And so now we have a nice and even, smooth, blank canvas. And that's exactly what we want. Okay, so now that my eyelids are set, I'm going to move my powder aside and begin to prime my skin for my foundation. Now when it comes to primer, it's a little tricky, and I really can't sit here and tell you all what primer to use because everybody's skin type is different. Because I have oily to combination skin with enlarged pores, I like to stick to primers that are mattifying and something along the lines of pore covering, or a blur and smooth type of primer, something that's going to help my skin underneath my foundation. So because I have larger pores, I like to take primers that are mattifying because I have oily skin, but because I have pores, I want something that's going to blur my pores away or smooth my pores out or cover my pores or something like that, so that when I put my foundation on top, you can't really see my pores underneath. So I suggest that you do your own research in trying to find what primer works best for your skin type. It's a little tricky because the type of skin that you have versus the type of primer you use also plays a part in what type of foundation you use as well. You kind of have to find your correct balance. I can't sit here and tell you all what primer to go and buy. The primer that I'm gonna use today is my Maybelline primer by Face Studio Master Prime. It's Maybelline primer. It's called Master Prime by Face Studio, but it's by Maybelline. When I start to prime my face, I stick, like I said, because I have larger pores, I keep my foundation in the center of my face, because I also use a tip from Jackie Aina. She sets her primer in place with the powder, and I found that to be very helpful in me when it comes to covering my pores. That's how it works for me. So, and excuse my nails, I don't know what's going on with the set that I have, but it's horrible. I'm not even gonna tell y'all the whole entire story. So I just rub my primer in like lotion. You want to let your primer sit on your skin for at least 5 to 7 to 10 minutes and let it do its thing, because if I go right in with my foundation, right as soon as I put my primer on and blend it out with a brush or a beauty blender or whatever you choose to use, you are only moving your primer around. You're not letting it do its job and leaving it alone, by leaving it alone and letting it sit into your skin and do what it's supposed to do. So in the meantime, while I do let my primer sit, that's when I like to prep my false lashes. I am going to take some lashes from Amazon. I got these lashes from Amazon. It was only like $6. And they are really cute. Like, so I already have 2 pairs that's out because I lost a pair, and then I have a pair that I used last night to record this video. So I don't want to get too much into too much detail when it comes to applying my lashes. If you want a separate video on how to apply false lashes, also let me know in the comment section down below, and give this video a thumbs up so that I can know. Okay, so when my lashes are on, I let them, you know, do their thing. Okay, so now that my primer has chilled and set into my skin, I'm going to take the leftover powder that's in my cap and take my beauty sponge and set my primer. Now, when it comes to beauty sponges, beauty blenders, whatever you prefer to use, I don't like using foundation brushes to like blend out my foundation. I'm not really a fan. I have done it. I will do it just to see, you know what I'm saying, but typically I grab for beauty sponges, beauty blenders. You can find beauty sponges and beauty blenders almost anywhere. I love Real Technique sponges. I have several Real Technique sponges, and I also have the Sonia Kashuk sponges. Those sponges are, if you go to Target in the beauty aisle, you'll see those are the black and white sponges that are shaped like this. These sponges are really good too. They run you like $6 or $7. When it comes to applying your makeup with a sponge, you want to let your beauty blender be absorbed and soaked by water. Squeeze your sponge out, it should double in size. Okay, you want to make sure your sponges are damp. You don't want to apply your makeup with soaking wet sponges, because you are only going to remove the product. So when you put your foundation on, your sponge should be damp. Like, you should still feel some coolness, some wetness to it, but you shouldn't be able to wring it out. And let them dry just a little bit so that you won't remove any product from your face and have your sponge absorb the whole entire thing. So I'm going to take my sponge like this, tap it into the powder like that, and I'm going to set my primer in place. This also helps oily skin too. So like, your oil, you won't produce as much oil throughout the day because you're setting your primer with oil. Setting your primer with powder, then you're going to put your foundation on, then you're going to put your concealer on, then you're going to set that with more powder so that it combats all of that oiliness. If you have dry skin, I wouldn't do this step at all because you are only going to dry out your skin. I would stick to dewy foundations because a dewy foundation is obviously the opposite of a matte foundation. Matte foundations mean dry, there's no radiance, there's no glow, there's no extra oiliness that makes your skin even more oily. Dewy foundation you want to use if you have dry skin because you are adding in moisture instead of using a mattifying foundation that will take away. So once that's set and done, then I move on to foundations. So the foundation that I'm going to use today is one of my favorite drugstore foundations. It is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. I am in the color 111 Soft Sable if you want to use it as a reference. But then again, I have lights on me too, so you can't really see my real complexion. And you want to match your foundation to your chest, not to your face, not on the back of your hand or anything like that. You want to match your foundation to your neck and to your chest. So I am going to take my foundation and pretty much color this all on my face. So I'm going to take a flat foundation brush. This is from Luxie. It's the 510 foundation brush. It looks like this. And I typically just use brushes like this to spread out and evenly distribute the foundation all over my face instead of keeping it in the center of it. This also helps with coverage. But like I said, when you are doing makeup and doing your thing, you following all of these tips, you will start to learn and start to do things how you find best for yourself. I'm just here to give you all tips and tricks and show you all what I do. And like I said, I've learned from other YouTubers, and then I took their tips and their advice, and I added it into what I learned works for me. So not everything that they did works for me. I took their advice, I took their tips, and then I applied it to me and myself and what my makeup and how I want it to look. And I want you all to do the same exact thing. Everything that I'm doing is not going to work for you. So I'm just showing you, I'm just giving you all a general aspect on the basic foundations of doing your own makeup. So I'm going to take the flat end of my sponge to blend out this foundation. Okay, so now that my foundation is lovely and nicely blended out and it matches me, we are going to conceal. Now, a lot of people always ask me what's the difference between highlight and conceal, because you can highlight and conceal with concealer. I'm going to have some descriptions listed on the side of the video to help you further understand what it means. A lot of people always ask me, what's the difference, because you can also highlight your face with concealer. And the purpose of concealer is to brighten, because we've used foundation. Foundation gives you a blank and even canvas, so sometimes it washes out the natural dimensions and the natural lighting in your face. So we use concealer and bronzer and contouring to bring back those things that foundation has washed out. Now, this concealer is going to help us cover up any dark marks or whatever that we have, if we have it. When you want to highlight your skin and bring back that natural lighting in your face that the foundation has washed out, you want to use a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than your complexion. Okay, this is going to give us that brightness back into our face. It's going to make us look awake. So this concealer is a little lighter than the concealer that I placed underneath. If you can tell, you see how different it looks from right here and right here? That's because this concealer is going to bring back in the lighting that is in our face. It's supposed to be. And we place them in these areas because This is where the light hits our face naturally. So if you step outside and you take a picture, the highest points in your face is your chin, your forehead, and right underneath your eyes. Okay, that's where the light and the sun is going to hit first. So another tip that I like to do when it comes to concealer is let my concealer dry down just a little bit. This helps in giving us a little bit more coverage. When I blend out my foundation, I take the same sponge and I just blend it out like I do my foundation, but you don't want to take this all over your face. You want to blend it in the spot in which you placed it. See how it's bringing back some brightness into my face, into my skin? That's what you want. Now, blending out concealer can be a little tricky because typically sometimes concealers are thick, or sometimes they can be runny and they can, you know, make or break your makeup look, to be quite honest. So you want to be careful when blending out your concealers because you don't want people to be able to tell where your concealer starts and stops. So you want to make sure you blend out those lines very carefully. Okay, so another tip when blending out your foundation to make sure you can't see those lines is to blend it out, the corners of it, with the same side you blended out your foundation with on your sponge. So that way they blend into each other seamlessly. And that's exactly what you want. Okay, so I go back and forth when blending my concealer. I don't blend out one side and then blend out the other side because one side will end up having more concealer than the other. So I like to blend back and forth to make sure they are both even and blend it out the same. Then I'm going to take the sponge, the part on where I blend out my foundation, and I am going to blend everything together to make sure everything is seamless and you can't tell where my concealer starts and stops either way. So I'm gonna take some more powder like that, and you want to also make sure you try to take an even amount of powder because you don't want like clumps of powder here but then everything up here is like really thin. So you want to be mindful of how you take your powder. So I'm going to hold my sponge up here. I'm going to make sure I blended out everything as good as I could. And set that in place. Alright, so when my face is, I had to fix my lash off camera, but when my face is nice and powdered down and it's looking real good and flawless, it is then time to bring out what I mentioned before, which was the dimension in the face. As you can see, my face looks like I got no cheekbones, I got no jaw, I got no structure in my face or anything like that. So it's time to bring that all back into the face because, like I said before, the foundation and the concealer especially washed it all out. So when I do like to bronze up my face, I like to use contouring powder to bronze or contour up my skin. I like to use the NYX bronzer or the True Complexion Contour Palette by Black Radiance. But like I said, find what works for you. I've learned to do powder because it's easier, it's a lot less effort as opposed to cream contour because cream contour is a liquid, it's a cream product, so you have to blend out really well, otherwise you'll have contour that looks like a mud streak. So powder is a little bit more or less maintenance than cream is. So when contouring and bronzing up my face, I like to take a small, very detailed contouring brush. It's really small which gives you helps you with a more precise location when bronzing up your face, and it also helps you manage your control better because it's so small. So when picking out a bronzing shade or a contour shade, you want to stick to a shade or a powder or whatever you choose to use that is 2 tones darker than your natural complexion. We are going to, I think today I'm going to use the NYX bronzer. I'm going to dip my brush in it like this. I'm going to tap off my excess because you want to be careful because it's not, even though it's not as hard to maintain as anything as contouring with a cream product. You still do have to be careful because you can bronze up your whole face if you aren't, you know, careful, and then next thing you know your face looks washed out or whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna take some more, take off my excess. I'm gonna suck my cheeks in like that, and we're going to follow the line that is there, and we're going to bronze a little above it. And you also want to blend it out in circular motions because it gives you a softer yet seamless blend. And just like that, we brought back a little dimension in the face. Now when I'm picking out my bronzer shade for the day or for what I want to look like, this is a little bit more lighter and redder, which gives me a more of a subtle natural bronze. Anything darker would give me not harsh, but like a little bit more of a bad bitch feel, like a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, I'm cutting bitches with my contour, like that type of vibe. Depending on your forehead size, you don't really have to bronze it or contour it. If you have a bigger forehead, then bronzing or contouring it make it appear to be smaller. So you just want to do the same thing. Follow your hairline. So I'm just going to blend circular motions back towards my hairline. Alright, so when you want to blend out your jawline or give yourself a jaw, you want to blend your contour back towards like your neck, because the goal is to make it look like, you know, you got like structure in your face. You know what I'm saying? The bronzing up your face raises your cheekbones. Doing this to your jawline helps push it back so it can make it look like it's there. So I don't typically do this because it's kind of hard to me, because I don't have a jawline at all. Like my face is just that fat where I can't really determine how to really do it. So if I follow that line I just place with my finger, I blend it backwards like this, and see how it gives you that jaw look. Okay, so the next thing I like to do is contour my nose. My face looks so pretty. I love contouring my nose. Like that's my favorite part about makeup, I think, is contouring my nose, because the concealer and all the powder washed out my nose, so we want to contour and bronze up and bring that structure in our nose back. And I like to contour my nose to the point where it look like I can't breathe. Okay, so I'm going to take the Black Radiance palette to do this step because I want to take the dark shade. I don't want to use my bronzer shade because this is a little red and I don't want my nose to look red. So not that it made my face look red, but certain colors and certain shades are for certain parts of my face to me. So when I do contour my nose, I like to drag my contour right underneath my brow bone, and then I bring it down on the bridges of my nose. That way you don't have contour that stops and starts here. You know what I'm saying? If you bring it underneath your brow bones, you know, it'll look a little bit more pleasing. It won't look so harsh. So I'm going to take my brush with the darker shade on it, and I'm going to slightly contour my nose. It starts off a little harsh, but blending it out is all in the wrist, because look how harsh that looks. But it's okay because we are going to fix it. Alright, so I'm going to take a wider brush. I took a small contouring brush. This is by e.l.f. This is what it looks like. So another brush I'm going to take by e.l.f. is a little bit more flatter and wider. It's flat here, but then it kind of spreads out, and it has tapered bristles on the sides, and that's going to help us blend out all of this. Okay, so it's not blended out perfectly, but the next step is going to aid in that. So what we want to do is take a brush a small brush. We're going to take this small pointed brush like this. I typically use this brush to highlight my face. Sorry if you hear my dog in the back. She like is on go when it comes to the cat. So I'm going to take the small pencil looking brush and I'm going to dip it into my powder because we are going to place this powder down the bridge of our nose because this is going to help define our nose contour. Alright, so we're going to let that rock out for a little while. Okay, so the powder settled in and I'm just going to wipe away some of that excess powder. I'm going to take my Milani Make It Last setting spray and set everything in place. Using a setting mist locks everything in, but another tip that I learned from Jackie Aina is letting this dry down about 75 to 80% and then going over it again with your sponge. That way everything can be pressed into your skin and it looks a little bit more seamless, a little bit more well blended. I'm going to take my Master Chrome by Face Studio and Maybelline highlighter and highlight my face, and we're going to highlight our face right above our contour. We want to highlight our skin by circling this into our contour and also slightly right above it so that it can blend in nice and evenly. And my favorite part of highlighting is highlighting my nose. I love a beaming nose highlight. Oh my god, watch how pretty this is about to look. I'll take that small penciled brush and put some right on the tip of my nose like that. This gives you the appearance of a cute little button nose, like boop. And then I also like to take some highlighter and highlight the bridge of my nose, but don't connect the two. Okay, we just want to do the bridge. And I like to take my finger and blend that away, but blend it in at the same time so it can look nice and pretty. Okay, so when it comes to lips and I'm doing a basic look like this, I don't really do too much with the lips. The most I will do is a clear lip gloss or a nude lip gloss or a pink lip gloss. I can't find my nude lip gloss, but I'm going to take this one. I like this. This is by NYX. This is in the color Tiramisu. It's one of their butter glosses. And it kind of resembles the natural pink in my lips. So I like to do that just because it makes it look like I don't have any lip gloss on, because it is similar to my natural lip color. And just like that, I am done. The makeup look is complete. I hope that you all learned something from this video and definitely took away some type of tips, some type of learning out of it. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up so it can be discoverable to people who might find it interesting as well as helpful. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all next week. Bye.